Hello, it is Transformation Thursday, and as I said on Monday, this entire week, you are being blessed by people from our community, our very own 55 plus family. Today happens to be four amazing women, and we were talking about some of our overcoming stuff before we began this live recording, and I'm pretty sure that we fit into that. Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall, took all the king's horses and all the king's men to put us together again. I'm telling you what, there's a lot of broken parts between all of us, and we are all overcoming together. So I want to remind you guys, we have specifically, this is not to tell you how to use physical therapy. This is stories. These are people kind enough to share their journey with you. So you'll find relatability to what they're doing, possibly ideas from how they're doing it, how they're handling it. And you can see my girlfriends here, but I'm going to go on and do one quick thing before you get to hear their stories. Okay, so it's Transformation Thursday this entire week, you guys. The theme has been nope to self. It's okay to not have it all figured out yet. And it's especially important with this PT thing because I've had plenty of people say, well, I can't figure out exactly what to do in there. Yeah, you think? It's our bodies that will tell us exactly what to do. We start with one and we just continue. If we can do the one in that category, we can go on to two. But if this is not where you're going to figure everything out just because the class has a number one or a number two by it, you will have to listen to your body on this entire journey, my friends. So these are the four women we have on today. And of course, they already figured out it's okay to not have it all figured out because they too are on their own journeys. And even though we've listed basically their maybe top category, we all know that we have multiple categories in there. So I want to share just a couple of things before we begin. Great news, you guys. In the 55 plus family, sometime last week, I didn't pay attention, we flew past 1,800 of us already. So within just a little over 6 months, there's 1,800 of us that found our way into DDPY Seniors Place. So I'm so excited about that. And when we're talking physical therapy, I've got to make sure you all understand this is about running this past your doctor. And if you have a physical therapist, run this by them. You can show them what's on the app. You need to make sure it lines up in the timeline that they want you doing things and also the protocol that they want you using, right? But what's really cool about this is you can use this as prehabilitation. So prior to, I can't remember, one of you girls is considering a surgery coming up. Oh, Diana. Well, you'd like to avoid shoulder surgery. Yeah, that's it. Anywho, yeah, so you could use this prior to a surgery to build a prehab that they call it, or during your insurance rehab time and you're going 2 or 3 times to rehab, you can use this on the opposite days or after your insurance runs out. And I don't know about the rest of you guys, but for sure, 9 years before I started with DDPY, I had an injury to both knees, and I'll never forget the day that my insurance evidently was done paying because the PT guy hands me this sheet of paper and he goes, well, you're officially done now, Pam. And I'm like, I'm done? I'm thinking, can't even walk, but what he meant to say was, money gone, you're out the door. So that's where seriously, the power, I believe, of DDPY's program really exists. And on this very post, I'm going to put a link, you guys, because on April 3rd, they launched this, and there's a live recording of the official launch, and that has DDP himself, Dallas, coach to me, Steve Yu is on there, Josh Nair is on there, Matt Kilgore, and Yoga Doc. So they're all on there. They're explaining the process that went into creating this PT program, physical therapy program, and some of the how-tos. So that's the one you'll want to listen to. It's going to be linked right below here. But I do want to just mention, if you don't get over there and watch that yet, one key point is this is different than all our other workouts in the app. This one, you go from 1 to 2 to 3. They actually do need to be followed numerically. Now, what you can say is, but I don't think I need much help. good for you. Then go to one, like in my case, I went for the knee. I went to number 1, 15 minutes, and I did number 2, 15 minutes, walk in the park. Did number 3, 25 minutes. I stretched a little bit. It was fine. Got to number 4, and I knew as soon as I finished number 4, Pam, you're going to never look at number 5 till you can manage to get through this number 4 on a regular basis. So that's how you know. You take the steps, and I still every day now I use it. I do number 1 and number 2 help me like warm-ups. Number 3 kind of gets me ready for number 4, right? So I still do them I don't just leap to 4 every day, but you can do it any way you want. But I do want to also add before the gals come on, all of DDPY, you guys, was founded on rebuild. Dallas put this together because of injury to his back, and he wanted to get back in the ring. So he merged yoga with physical therapy. So this is the foundation of who we are. It's just they now took it to a much richer level. For those of us that have already been using it, you know, there's a real profound way that this is. But I need to tell you, Dallas did physical therapy and this together. He did it 7 days a week. He started out with like 20 minutes a day, then he worked up to 30 minutes. Ultimately, he got to 3 hours a day. It was divided throughout the day, but 3 hours a day. So you've all heard Arthur Borman's story, but do you realize that when Dallas stepped into that, he goes, Arthur, really? You need to be doing this 7 days a week, because Arthur was a rebuild story. Sure, he had weight to lose, but this was all about mobility for Arthur because he had the walking sticks and things. And so DDP says, I want you to do it twice a day, once in the morning, once at night, twice a day, 7 days a week. That's how the Arthur's breakthrough came. And if you listen to this panel, you'll hear the physical therapists themselves say the value of doing it 7 days a week. So consider that in your story. So we're going to step in, you guys. And of course, it's okay to not have it all figured out yet. We're on our own personal journeys. We had some talks before we started. It's really fun. You girls are amazing. So we are going to start, and we'll start with Allison, and she's got some things she's got to exit to go for. And but if you wouldn't mind, Allison, sharing your story with us, a little bit about what that looks like for you.
And that's the PT, the new PT thing. Okay, yeah, I'm a huge fan. I think, you know, like the day after they put it up, I was in the group talking about it, and you know, I'm one of those people that you said has a long list. If you were to put my whole list of everything wrong, it would have taken 3 screens. Like, you know, it's bad. And so, and this is like going from being pretty healthy a few years ago to just, you know, bad fast. You know, when you stop moving your body, that's what happens. So, I went from having no knee problems ever in my life at age 60 to about a month after I turned 61. My knee went out, just stopped working, stopped being able to go down the stairs, started hurting really bad. And, you know, I went to the doctor and they said, well, it's probably not good enough. I mean, it's not bad enough that you need surgery. So that is when I found DDPY. It was right after the first of the year. And, you know, I was doing everything and I was trying to use common sense and listen to my body. But it wasn't just targeted for my knee. You know, there wasn't anything that was. And I was also trying to balance what I was hearing in physical therapy. And I live 45 minutes from town in a small little town of 1,000 in upstate New York. And so for me to have to drive into town to get with the physical therapist and find out what they want me to do. And I was trying to balance that. I would do what she told me on one day, and then I'd do DDPY the next day. And it was kind of crazy. So long story short is when they put the knehab stuff up there, it was exactly what I needed. And it was so amazing that I did the knehab for the first time. And then the very next day had to go to PT. And it was when we just started working on my knee because I was told that I needed to go ahead and have a knee replacement. And so I had seen her for all these other things, but I'd never seen her for my knee. So I went through and I showed her what I was doing. And when she showed me everything she wanted me to do, it was exactly what I had done the day before on the video. And I was like, this is exactly what the PT wanted me to do. And so I was like, why am I driving 45 minutes for this? It's crazy. I don't need to drive 45 minutes and talk to somebody, you know? So it's literally the same. It's literally the same program they want me to do. And so, yes, I'm, you know, unless, you know, God strikes me tomorrow with a new body, I'm having a knee replacement surgery in about 3 weeks. And so, and this is after 3 months of 5 and 6 days a week doing DDPY, you know, even before the knee-hab. And so if I was working that hard and it got worse in 3 months, he said, no, you just need to get a new knee. So this is the perfect prehab. You know, it's like having a PT at home with me, literally, you know, watching Matt and just listening to what he says and doing what he says. And he's telling me to do the things I need to do for exactly the right reasons to get my knee ready to handle that surgery. It'll be the same things I'll do after my surgery to get the new joint working again. So for me, it was all about timing. It was exactly what I needed when I needed it. So I love it.
Wow. You know, one of the posts that you put, and I love following all you guys, I'm serious, but one of the posts you had put was something about this gave you a new level of confidence that you had.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. Totally, because the first time I saw the picture on, so I did Nehab 01, I saw the picture for Nehab 02, and I was like, yeah, but that's not for me. Like, you know, the one is fine, but two's not for me. I can't put weight on my knees. Like, you know, seeing him in the screen capture, he's on his knees, you know, in front of the camera. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, but that's not for me. But after doing the first one about 3 times, I was like, well, if he says this is what, you know, I'm trusting Matt, you know, I'm trusting the guy on the video. It's like, if he says I should do this next one next, I guess I'll try it. And if I can't do it, I'll just skip that part. But I did it. And it was like, oh my God, I did a downward dog for the first time in years, you know, after, you know, in 3 months of DDP in the chair mostly, some standing, and then about a week of knee-hab, I was putting weight on my knees. I was doing, you know, the cat arches on my knees. I was doing downward dogs. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't, you know, I totally wouldn't have done it by myself, you know, if it was me back doing it with the chair and with DDPY, but having that little bridge of that knee-hab that I know is exactly for, you know, my body part that needs rehabbing. I don't know. It's a, I mean, it's a new level of medicine, really,
yeah.
for me. So,
Oh,
yeah.
I love that so much, Allison. Because I feel like too, you girls, when I step into these, especially when I'm to number 4 on the knee-hab, I am modifying things, but it's also meant to be modified, right? It's just like our others, only it's specifically talking to the things that need to be, even building a strong core, how much Matt teaches that in the knee-hab, which you wouldn't think would be relevant to knees, but it's 100% relative because the stronger our core and our hips are, it helps our knees.
Oh,
So
100%.
it's just awesome to have a program that's just talking to the part that matters the most to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you, Allison. Any other thoughts before I know soon you'll want to have to leave?
No, I just, you know, I love this program. I love this community. I love all the support. It's nice to see you guys. I think some of you have done a video with you before, so it's nice. I definitely see you in the group. And so thank you for being my rehab family, my rehab slash fitness family, because I don't think of this as always fitness. When I'm having a good day and doing stuff, you know, it's about fitness. So thanks for being my virtual family, and thank you so much for letting me cut out. I'm sorry that I can't
Oh,
stay. So
totally, we totally
yeah,
understand and
yeah,
appreciate you coming on, Allison. We know it was a stretch day for you. So
yeah. Thank you. It was a very long day. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks a lot.
awesome. Thank you, sweet one. Okay. Well, then, how about if we go in the order of Diana, Jamie, and then hit Jeanine? Would that work?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Diana, you tell us your journey, girlfriend.
Well, when you say journey, I don't know if you realize what that is. I have degenerative arthritis, so I had my double knee replacement 22 years ago at the age of 48, and it was that or end up in a wheelchair. And I wasn't getting the physical therapy myself at home. I wasn't doing it as what I wanted. I actually checked myself into the nursing home so I could get physical therapy every day for 2 weeks because the right knee started to lock up on me, and the doctor said, well, we may have to do a manipulation. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, we just break it loose and start it. I'm like, no, no, we're not doing that. So I talked to the physical therapist and she says, we're going to beat him out of that manipulation. And we did. And then in 2008, I fell on the ice and cracked my hip. I limped around for a year thinking it was going to get better, and it wasn't getting better. And the chiropractor said, I think you need to go see an orthopedic surgeon. And that was on a Friday, and I had a hip replacement on Monday. And so I've had physical therapy after each one of those things. I had the first hip replacement at 55. And then when I was 65, I was having issues, they thought, with my lower back. They sent me up for well, I thought my shoulder and then, or my back. And they sent me for x-rays and they go, oh my goodness, her back is bad, but her hip is worse. So they sent me up for hip surgery, and I had a hip replacement in 2017 at the age of 65. But my shoulder, no, I take that back. It was in 2019 when I hurt my shoulder. I'm an ENT. We had the cot probably weighs, and it's on an automatic lift, so we don't lift that much, but the cot probably weighs 200 pounds, 100 to 200 pounds. It's a bariatric cot. We had a 268 pound patient on it, and the wheel hit a divot in the road. And so, like, trying to hold the cot and the patient from falling over, which it didn't. It flipped me over on my back, and the patient was strapped on, of course, but he was like beside me. All he got was a scrape on his head. But it hurt my shoulder. But with the adrenaline, I'm like, oh, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. And then it just kept stiffening up till I couldn't lift it hardly above here. And so I started going to a chiropractor, and she said, you need to go to an orthopedic surgeon. And he looked at the x-rays. He goes, oh, you need surgery. Well, this was like the end of 2019. They scheduled me for surgery in March of 2020, which COVID hit. So he said, okay, we're doing surgery just a little bit different. And so then when they called me and told me, I didn't have pain in my shoulder at all. It's just stiff. And so I said, well, with COVID and everything, go ahead and do the surgeries for people who have pain. And we'll do mine after, that. And then when I kept working it just myself, not really knowing what I was doing, and it was loosening up a little bit, but not a lot. Then in 2022, I fell and broke both wrists, and had to have surgery then, emergency surgery, and they put a plate in. But my physical therapist is also my massage therapist. And so when I was getting my massage, she started working my shoulder too and stretching. And she goes, I wish I knew more what to do for your shoulder. And she says, because I really think we could beat this surgery with physical therapy. Well, then I started DDPY, and that started helping my shoulder a lot. But then when the rehab come out, I jumped on that. And oh my goodness, it's wonderful.
Isn't that great? Isn't that great?
And I do things without realizing it. I used to have to like bend my head over in the shower to wash my hair, get my head down to my hands. Oh, no problem. And I am using the towel. Now, the only thing on the rehab, I'm still trying to figure out the modification. One is fine, but on two, when he's on his knees, I I need to strengthen my wrists, I think, because it doesn't, it's uncomfortable. It doesn't hurt, but it's uncomfortable to be on my hands and knees. And it's okay on some of the other exercises, but on that one, like when he puts all the weight on one hand and then turns,
Right.
I started kind of doing it against the wall, so I didn't have my weight on it. So it's like you have to listen to your body and kind of modify with that. But my physical therapist is really interested in what I'm learning because it's doing so much more good than what she was doing.
Isn't that awesome? Oh, wow. And that's totally true. When we're doing these PT workouts, you guys, they're assuming that everything else, like say if you're going into the shoulder one, they're assuming that everything else in your body is working. But like we've all been talking about, well, no, actually I got this, and no, I got this, I got. So it is true. Your wrists are weak, and that just at this moment, right? Which just means when you get to a spot that's not factoring that in, you factor it in, right? And it's giving you breakthrough.
And with the rehab on my wrist, they didn't think I would have mobility afterwards. But I think part of that is some people go to physical therapy, just do the physical therapy when they're at the physical therapist.
That's exactly right. That's why our
Being,
thing works.
being in the healthcare program, I know what they teach you there, you're supposed to go home and do. And it's really easy to do with the DDPY physical therapy. And you have your physical therapist right there with you.
Yeah. What are the things I know they have wrist coming soon? Oh, carpal tunnel, elbow, ankle, foot, and neck. But yeah, so the wrists are part of what's coming too, a little ways out. The one that's coming soonest is that hip one is being added, and but all of the other parts are still in plans.
Well, honestly, I think after I'm done with my shoulder, well, of course, I'll do the wrists and I'll do the ankles too. But I think I'll go back and do some of the knees too because um, I did physical therapy then, but I can't help but think I can strengthen them more.
Right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm hanging. I dropped everything that I was doing 9 days ago. I dropped all of the other because the other was like a fantasy world. I was still trying to stay where I was before the fall, right? And so I finally took off the rose colored glasses and figured out I got this issue. It's primary. I'm going to handle it. So, yeah, these are phenomenal for us. Okay, let's see. So, are we ready, Miss Jamie? What's your story, girlfriend?
Oh, well, I'll start with what I told you earlier. So I live in Minnesota. I have, I, every year I fall at least once. This year I have not. And I finally got spikes for my snow boots. That helps a lot. But so, and if I fall on my left shoulder, it seems like just the way I go down. And then one time I was in Walmart, slipped on ice and fell. And this sweet gentleman, he was really tall, or maybe it was I was laying on the ground, helped me up with this arm. And ever then, I could still do my back of my head, but don't ask me to do much more than that. And a year ago, I bought livestock tanks, drilled holes in the bottom, and to make a raised garden bed, and I pulled all the muscles in my chest, and I couldn't raise my arm. And so I started. It's right around my 1 year anniversary with DDP, and so a year ago I could not raise my arm. So when I started in chair, and I had to assist this arm up to do a touchdown, or to do diamond, the diamond cutter. And I thought it's like, or even you're like to reach out on the steering wheel and turn it, you do things and it's like, oh, there's pain there, but you work through it because you got to drive the car or whatever.
Yeah.
And so when they came out, I thought, oh, okay, I'm gonna do the shoulders, and then I've had knee problems because I dislocated or stretched the tendons in my knee when I was 21 playing volleyball, going up for a spike and come down on it and it popped. And you're like, and then I was a hairdresser for years, chased kids for years. And then I sat. I'm a bookkeeper for our business and I sit. And then I drove, I have a friend that owns a school bus company and she needed a driver for a van. Well, that morphed into where I was driving 5.5 hours a day for her, transporting special needs students. And so sitting that much, I was end up sitting almost 8, 9 hours a day because you can't really stop, in the middle of a route and get out and stretch. So I'd get out of the van at the end of the day and or at the end of the route, and I'd have to stand there and like, okay, am I going to be able to move? And then it's like walk and hobbling along the van. And so I started out with the knee, and I thought, well, I'll do knee number 1. And I did knee one, not one. And thought, oh, that was really easy. I could do 2. But then the next day, so I did it, on top of whatever workout I did that day. And I thought, oh, but by like 2, 3 hours later, it's like, oh, there are muscles there that you have not used in years. And so I thought, so I'm still at number 1, thinking that's working it. But with doing, because it was January 1st, I thought, okay, Jamie, you need to change your life, or you're going to be in a wheelchair, or your kids are going to have to take care of you if you don't change something. So I've been doing, it's like 14, 15 weeks I've been doing DDP. But with DDP, just doing, like I started doing the standing with chair.
Oh, good.
Yeah, standing with chair. And then so I'm an avid gardener, love to garden, but I couldn't be down on my hands and knees, even with a kneeling pad, for very long. It was just like, I'd have to get up. And so hence I was bending to do most of my garden, which is not good for you either. But this week I started cleaning out my flower beds and getting a bunny poop to put in my garden boxes. Yesterday I was up and down on my knees for 3 hours. I was a little sore this morning, but I still did it. And then and so then with the shoulder, even with just doing, starting out in chair last year and then doing standing this year, I mean, to be able, like you said, wash your hair, dry yourself off with a towel. I mean, it's like to drive this, I reach up and was like, ooh, that didn't hurt to drive my car. It's like, and it's just like, it's just mind boggling that just being consistent. I mean, I don't do 7 days a week, but it's usually 5 to 6 days a week. And then I'm piggybacking either like shoulder 1 or shoulder 2 with knee 1 on top of whatever workout. Because I usually have an hour that I can squeeze in an hour and still get ready to go to work and actually prep our lunch, because we're fortunate. Our business is only a half mile from our house, so we come home for lunch every day. And so I try to have all that done within an hour and a half, and I may walk into work late because I take the time to do my DDP. But see, being self-employed, that's wonderful.
I think it's actually a good reason, though.
Yeah. And my husband doesn't, because he's, I don't know if he's seen it, and I keep hinting that, because he was in a motorcycle accident almost 3 years, it'll be 3 years in June. And he landed on his butt. He flew over a car pulled out in front of him, and he flew over the car and landed on his butt, and he's back pain like you can't believe. And I keep hinting, it's like, well, they just came out with this, physical therapy. You should really look at it. Because like you did, when he, because this was, 21, he had it. And so they gave him the piece of paper and said, here, go home and do their physical therapy.
I know. It's amazing.
I'm like going, I'm hinting that he needs to do this.
Yeah. Well, all I can say, we've been married this fall 47 years, and I have figured my husband out. Everything has to at least feel like it's his idea.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so, I had all my breakthroughs in 2022 were 77 inches gone, 80 pounds gone. But the thing I went in for was mobility. I got all my mobility back. I was averaging even 20,000 steps a day, right? But yeah. So he was watching all that, but it didn't trigger. He just started with DDPY a few weeks back. He's completed 4 weeks now. 4 weeks now he's completed. And when he came to me, I'm like, really? This is in February. I'm like, really? And he said, yeah. So I gave it a whole week to make sure he kept coming at me for a week, because I thought, I got to have you come at me enough. And sure enough, I figured out he completely serious, and he's doing great. But I don't know about your husband, but there's no way I could have pushed my husband on the idea.
No, we've been married we've been married 36, 37 years. And so, yeah, no, it's got to be his idea. And so,
your testament. One of the things that I read that you wrote that I got me teared up was when you said, I got up off the floor without assistance of a chair. And
yeah, without even thinking about it.
That have experienced that, we know, gosh, you know, when you can't do like the minimal stuff without so much effort, and it takes so much energy, right? And when you said you were able to get off the floor without a chair to assist you, these are game changers. These make our life so much more enjoyable. And I remember my first Christmas so I always, these 9 years of mess with my health, right? I would take 2 to 3 days to decorate for Christmas, but it was because I had to sit down after every little step. I would sit down. So my very first Christmas, because I started in January, so my first Christmas, and I'd had all these breakthroughs, right? I think I was done with all the decorating before noon, or it was like 1 or 2. It was before I had my first meal, and I'm like, well, what on earth? Am I actually officially done? Well, people don't get it, but when you're struggling, everything you want to do is so much harder than you let anybody know. Even you just hide it.
You pace yourself out, because I need to do the back. Well, just the regular workouts are helping my lower back. But yeah, 2 years ago, a year ago, you know, my lower back I couldn't stand for as long as I wanted. I mean, as long as I was walking, but if I stood to talk to somebody, it's like, oh, I got to go sit down. This hurts. And so that's getting better, but I probably need to do the back builder too. But
I do the number one before I start anything now.
Yeah.
These days, that number 1 is in the bed. It's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Okay, Jeanine, you got to take this on home, girlfriend. You got and her story. The minute I saw you were actually born with a challenge on your legs right from the get-go. You had to learn what many of us haven't learned till we started into our 50s, what some of that looked like, right? So tell us your story, Jeanine. It's pretty cool.
Oh, I was born with a left crooked leg and had some special shoes when I was little. I don't remember what they were. And then 8th grade, I was walking through the cafeteria, and back in the day, we had individual chairs, and a boy shoved a chair in front of me, and I tried to jump over the chair, and I didn't make it. And so I fell, and I broke my tib on my left leg. And so they put in a screw in my tib. And so I was great after that. And then I get into high school, and I'm on the volleyball team, and we're playing a game, and the girl and I go up for a block, and she falls on me, and I fall, and I break the fibula again on the same leg. So now I'm back in a cast again. So after that, I was pretty good for a while. I was flight attendant for a long time, pushed a lot of heavy carts, a lot of time on my feet, and get into my, I don't know, late 40s, and my hip starts hurting, and I'm bending over, and it starts clicking and snapping and making all kinds of weird noises. And so go to the orthopedic. I have what's called the labrum tear. It's like the little lip at the cup of your ball of your hip, and it's degenerative, they say. So they go in, they do arthroscopic surgery, they clean it up, they make it look nice, they send you home, and that was good for about 6 months. And then it started hurting again and getting really sore, and I was like, it didn't work. And so then I went back to the orthopedic again, and I said, it didn't work. I'm in pain. And he says, you're too young for a hip replacement. I won't give you one till you're 60. And I was like, no, I'll be dead by then, because I was in so much pain. And I have one child, and I didn't have him till I was 40. So I only have a 16-year-old. So I got a kid to run around after at this point. I'm like, I can't be slow. So I did a lot of research. I found an amazing surgeon here in Atlanta, and he did what's called
you live in Atlanta?
Yeah, I am. Anyway,
that's where DDPY Performance Center is, girls.
Yeah. So he did what's called an anterior approach, which is not as common. Most people have the approach that goes in through the back of the hip or the side of the hip. This is an approach in the front of the leg. And the great thing about this approach is that it doesn't cut any muscle. So you don't have as much rehab. But because I've been babying the leg for so long, my knee is really weak, my core is weak, just a lot of things. So that's how DDPY came into my life, was after the hip replacement. I had done PT they had an app that you would do the PT on the app. Like, I didn't actually even go to PT. So I did the PT on the app. I was doing pretty good. But my core and everything was just weak. So I remember when I did my very first chair exercise, I was sitting exactly where I'm sitting right now. And I was sitting here on my porch and I did my very first chair workout. And the next day I was like, oh, wow, this, I could feel this. This is different, So I've done chair, I've done the chair to standing, I've done standing, I've done beginner. And then just recently started doing the kneehab in order to strengthen all those muscles around the leg that I've been babying, that I babied for so long. So I've done kneehab 1, kneehab 2, and kneehab 3, and kneehab 4. And I haven't done 5 yet. So I like them. I really do. I like the isolation of the muscles. I like the strengthening part of it. 1 and 2 to me feel like a warm up, and 3 feels like a workout, and 4 feels more like a workout. 3 was rougher to me. I told you before we started, 3 was a little rougher for me because I have a lot of trouble doing knee droppers, and I love doing knee droppers in the pool. That is one of my biggest things all summer long. When the pool's open, I go into the shallow end and I do my knee droppers in the pool. And it really helps me to build that up. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I've just started it recently, last week or 2 with the kneehab, and I'm really seeing some different muscles start to go, hello, we're here. We've been hiding, but we're here. So yeah.
People say, well, Pam, I don't have a knee problem. They said this to me on several occasions in our group. I don't have a knee problem, Pam. I'm fine. And I'm thinking, well, I would study the PT anyway, because I will guarantee you that things happen. You guys have talked about all these life circumstances. None of those were planned for, right? So certainly my knee thing that happened 2.5 months ago, I seriously never dreamt I would have another knee accident, right? So I think the best part for everybody out there that doesn't need any of the PT right now in our 55 plus family, I think they should embrace the fact that it doesn't matter how many body parts, because you've heard, I don't even know if I could count them on 2 hands, what we just covered with all of us, right? But there are so many things that you could face, but you guys are all proving that you can still move forward now, especially since they went to the richer part of physical therapy for us. The other part was working because that's how DDPY was founded. But now that they've given us exactly what we need, and it's really cool for me to hear each one of your stories, realizing how you guys have had tenacity through a lot of things that a lot of people would have given up on, right? So, and it is funny that I put Diana in as shoulder, when in fact she just covered all these other body parts that are other joints that are hurting. And the same thing, Jamie, I put you as shoulder and knee, but technically you faced a lot of things that were not just shoulder and knee, right?
Oh yeah.
And Jeanine, the same thing. I put knee, and wow, girlfriend, you really hit a lot of different joints there too. So thank you, girls, so much for sharing your stories, because I think sometimes people think that you got to have almost everything together, just one little tweak that you need fixing, then you can do this. Well, I think we're all proof that no, it's actually You can have quite a few things. And even one of the guys on the panel on Wellness Wednesday brought up nutrition, that he actually realized he needed to switch to anti-inflammatory foods. He changed his food diet too, and that helped his knees so he could walk. He's a school teacher, and he could walk down the hallways for the first time without saying ouch, 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 right? That feeling that when you know everything you're about to do is going to cause pain, it's a push. So yeah. So thank you so much for sharing in our 55 plus. Anything what you guys want to add before we close out?
No.
I think you're amazing, Pam. Thank you so much.
Yes, thanks, Pam.
You're so funny. I just absolutely am so energized by this. Honestly, it's my honor to do it. And then I'm inspired by all of your stories and stuff. So when I do this, really, you guys fill my cup up tons. So
I think this is the best support group I have ever been involved with.
Me too. When I what people, and it's equal, men and women and all ages 55 plus and up, that are really saying the kindest things to one another. And then even if somebody has a question, they really take the time to give a full out answer, right? It's powerful. Yeah, powerful. So living proof, because we already passed 1,800 of us. Finding our way here is just shocking. So, well, love you tons. It's been a great kickoff for Transformation Thursday, girls. Thank you for all you did. It's amazing. Love you.
Bye, guys.